Have you ever been victimized by New Age spirituality?
We've been waiting for you. We've been waiting.
You're going to want to listen up.
I'm Megan, an intuitive life coach and Reiki master.
I'm Ryan, a professional astrologer, and we want to show you what spirituality is by talking about what it is not.
Con artist.
Yes.
Snake oil salesman.
There are so many susceptible people out there.
And then they're tainted. They're ruined. They don't want to come back to spirituality.
We still have a lot to learn, and we will humble ourselves and learn, I think, every freaking day. This is Clairanoyance,
a podcast of spiritual interference. What do you constitute as a friend?
Actually, I never really, I know we were just talking about this, but I never, what's funny is I never put thought into it for myself. I never did. What constitutes, what's really interesting? And honestly, this is cool. Like friends, I think I've always been someone who doesn't really, like, I'm a Gemini, so I can get along with anybody, or like, or like do the small talk game and find the common ground, lots of acquaintances. But I definitely, I think, seek out friends that I'm like, no, this could actually be somebody. Like, I would like, I'm only going to really invest my time in someone that I think could be a long-term friend, even though many friends just don't end up being that way. But something I've learned, and how I fully believe that you and I will be very long-term friends, is that typically long-term friends have that like kind of love at first sight bond, where it's like they rarely start off kind of rocky, and then over time they get better and better and better. They usually start off like real fucking well and then keep getting better from there. So that, like, you and I think had that pretty immediate hit. That, I think it's that immediacy for me with most connections, even like the romantic ones. I think that's true. And actually, like, science has even proved like love at first sight actually does exist. That connection can be established like on a chemical level. But I think the same about friends. There's just something where you just know, like, this is somebody that I care to stay in touch with for damn sure. Yeah. And that's it. That's how I think I choose. Like, that's not maybe what constitutes, I guess, a good friend. After that, it is like are you, like, how are you benefiting my life? Not like in a, that sounds shitty
you have
though.
The connection. So just like from like our last episode, you have connection cannot be created or denied. So you have the connection with someone, and then it's like, are you in a place to facilitate friendship? Because friendship is a verb. I'd say to people, I'm like, let's do the friendship because, like, it requires effort. It requires action.
Do you know, it's really cool that you say that, because there's this quote that I was actually going to probably save until the end of the episode, but I think I'll just say it now. It's like an anonymous quote, essentially, but it's like somebody ended up paraphrasing something that Ralph Waldo Emerson said. So I don't know what his full quote was, but the like paraphrased quote is, you cannot make a friend, you can only be a friend. Right. Ooh. Right. So the being of it, like, I can be friendly, I can like show that, like, I can be that is a verb of a friend.
Yeah.
But you can't just make a friend. Like, that's noun and objectification. But there is, for me, a bit of and every relationship is transactional in some sense, right? So I don't know. It's like, what do I get from a friendship?
Well, no relationship is 50-50. So, so yeah, it's transactional, and there'll be times where one is leaning more heavily on one side than the other.
Yeah. And it's like, it's not like transactional in the sense of like, I always need something from you. It's more like, just is naturally, do I get something from you? Do
I leave your presence exhausted? Am I trying to get off the phone? Am I, am I able to express my boundaries? I want to do this. Have you ever met someone, it usually happens romantically, but you're like, you have a hard time saying no to them. Like, and we get like excited about that. But now if I don't know anyone that like that in my current, but if I were to meet someone now, like friend wise, that I had a hard time saying no to, I would probably run. Because we get, sometimes we just get like hypnotized by people's energy and spirits. I know that used to happen to me. So when I was younger, I would just be like mesmerized by like these new people because it'd be like, oh my God, look at this like energy. Look at this. Like, who are you?
Yeah, that tends to happen a lot. Like in the research I did, actually, it's like we get really obsessed with people at first,
Yeah.
and then it can really like the more you get to know someone, the more then opportunity there is to find things that you don't like about them, right? But at first, everybody's got that like bit of like shine to them.
Yeah, and you're also putting your best foot forward. You're not gonna be like,
Mhm.
"Hey, here's my giant shit pile." It's like, "Here, I'm sparkly for you."
Mhm.
And then it's always and then people who have no it's not no filter, but the people who will just like, "Hey, can I come live with you?" And it's like, we just met." No.
No, for sure. There's the little that's it's cool you say that because there's stuff about that that I've seen too here. So listeners, if you haven't guessed, we're talking about friendship. Well, you saw the episode title, so obviously.
I'll tell you, friendship people, friends have broken my heart more than any man ever has. I mean, like both men and women, like friendship wise, but like my heart, I mean, like I've had to go to therapy over
Mhm.
friendships.
Yeah,
Whereas, like it's just like that it is one heartbreaking event or can be.
absolutely. Um, fri it's a weird thing. I mean, like, I think there's such a transience with friends, like, because it's like the vast majority of people that you get to know in your life will not be with you at the end of your life. Like,
Wow.
it's very rare to have like a
Uh,
long-term person.
I hope that hurt that if that like that hit everyone else in the gut like it just did me. Oh God almighty.
It
No.
sucks.
Don't leave me, guys.
I know, but isn't it so true?
And I'm gonna live till I'm 100. So, like, a lot of people. I'll probably, so many funerals I'll have to go to. So many people. So sad. And I'm gonna
Mm,
probably, like, I don't. I'm gonna take some sort of delightful substance in excess at my 100th birthday party. I'm gonna have like 4 or 5 mojitos, a pizza party, maybe a water slide, and then this sounds so terrible, but shoot me up with some morphine and away I go. I'm 100 though, okay? Like, let me have
right.
some drinks and a good time and let me live. But like, I have zero interest. Like, I'll probably do yoga or something cool that day and then peace out, Holmes. But who's gonna be at my birthday party? Who's gonna be at my 100th birthday parparty?
Oh my
So
God.
March 1st, 2085. Who's coming?
Count me in. God knows I won't be alive. I'll be
Terrible.
gone.
This is sad.
I know it is. Yeah, there.
I want you to live.
I feel like I friendship has totally interestingly changed for me over time because I feel like you know all you knew is people right at school at first, and then I
Mhm.
remember graduating high school and going off to college, and that's when I really started dealing with like the friendship breakups, and you're like these people that I've known for so long are now not going to be people I know anymore.
Are you friends with like your elementary school
Nope,
folks
not
at
a
all?
single one of them. Not a single one
Really?
of them. Even like I've got a best friend that I met very early in elementary school. He didn't even go to my elementary school. We just were in like a choir together actually at the YMCA. And he's I would still count him as my best friend even though I haven't seen him in a decade, and it's funny because he moved back to LA recently. And we had one day where we were going to meet up actually, and then he bailed on me. And it's fine. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
He's in a we're in very different places in our lives, but he's just definitely got that like very tender spot in my
Yeah.
heart. And I know that like if I ever were to see him again, it would just be like the
Instant.
dopest thing in the world. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's no, and I know I can hit him up if I need to. We're in very different spaces though. He dealt with like some serious drug issues. He actually moved when I moved to Vegas. He moved to LA, and then he got like
Cool.
into hard drugs and was homeless for like a long time
Ah,
too, without telling
yeah.
anybody. And anyway, then he went to rehab and moved back home and was in and out of like, I mean, he was relapsing all over the place, but now he's clean and he's actually like he's got his life coaching thing and he's like a sober life coach and he's back
Oh, that's
here.
amazing.
Yeah, so
I love to hear
he's
that.
back but we're just in very, very different spaces. I think like
Yeah.
me being the party animal that I can be, I don't know that that's
Yeah.
good for him and whatever.
Yeah.
But I was always the person who definitely required like proximity in my friendships. Like all
Mhm.
like it was just hard to stay in touch with people, you know? And I would try, but I never really felt like I received that in return. Like when I moved away or if someone else moved away, like I would try and keep that contact going, but it just never seemed to work, you know? Like
That's wild. Cause so I moved to Charleston when I was 12. I'm still close with I'm still tight with some of my elementary school. Like yeah, Valerie Stinson, Sarah Merriam, Katie O'Neill, like we're still in regular contact, like at 12, like
that's fucking nuts, man. I have a couple people from high school that I'm friendly with that I could pick up with for sure at any point, but
and when
that's
I moved
it.
here when I was 12, like I still got like there's still like Tara Nicolette, like Val McGee, like these are people where it's like we're it's wild. And so you think about it. Like friendship. So the proximity thing is interesting because you require it, but we are on opposite coasts and as close as can be.
Well, and that's what I've noticed, like when I was really thinking about this, because there's like part of like the study of friendship is basically that geography does matter for most people. And after like 2 to 3 years, the emotional connection that was established, if you don't see that person after 2 to 3 years, like it just starts to fade. And I definitely was on that train. And then I think I moved to LA and leaving behind the friends that I left behind in Vegas was not easy.
Mhm.
And I maintained the connections with some people, and I worked really hard to do that. And honestly, ever since then, I never really had a big group of like good gay friends either. So like that was important for me once I moved to LA and I got some of that. It's been pretty transient and whatever. Dealing with another like little wipeout of all those friends right now. But really it's those long distance people that I can stay in touch with. I've got a couple from college that are like ride or fucking dies, but they are back in the Midwest. Got you on the East Coast, I've got a yeah, like that's kind of it. But it's the people at a distance, my old college roommates back in Chicago, like good God, love them to death. Like, but so it's weird because I think my strongest and longest connections are the people that aren't near me.
Yeah.
So weird.
That is very interesting. But I think I've become more guarded in friendship as I've gotten older because my time is so valuable. So like Mary Dell, she was she's my immediate best friend. There's a girl who talks about different quadrants of best friends. You have like your North Star bestie. You're like I forget. So like my North Star bestie, I think, was my hetero life mate, Sarah Spagnoli. Yeah, and she's in Massachusetts. We haven't lived close to each other in years. Mary Dell's my bestie right here, right? Like my roll dog, like, but you want to talk about persistent. Like we met, we had a connection, but she was like, we're going to be friends. And I was like, no, because I had a rule. I was like, you're my client. We're not going to be professional boundaries. And yeah, for two and a
Mm.
half years, she was like, it's a tale of perseverance and never giving up. And so finally one day I was like, all right, you want to do something? Let's go to Cinco de Mayo in Austin. And this girl whips out her credit card, bow, buys the plane tickets, and we're going. And I was like, oh shit.
Okay.
Like, and so it's interesting to hear our perspectives because I'm a very open I think because I've had my heart stomped on by friends though in the recent years that I'm a little bit more guarded with friendship. So, and letting people in. And I think with you, it was so easy because it's like, well, this guy's fucking across the country. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so it's like, blah,
Mm-hmm.
blah. I could be weird as shit. And not like, I wasn't going to filter myself whatsoever. And also, I was like, well, he's an astrologer. He sees weird stuff all the time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's
So,
a there's a word for basically like okay, so it's called homophily. Yeah. homophily, homophily, which is basically like it's like birds of a feather flock together. Like we are attracted to people who internally or externally are like us. So you and I definitely had that connection. We're both brunette. No, no, we're both so duh friends. No, but I mean, we're obviously in the same space, and we have this mutual connection. My cousin, your friend slash
Yeah.
client, like, so it was like there was a connection point immediately, from a
Yeah.
trusted person too. So that
That's
was
true.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shauna vetted us.
hmm Um, Other than that, though, like homophily, which can literally be like, okay, people of like the same race are more inclined to like group
Or your
together.
work besties, like when you
hmm
say, like when you were working together and, it's so
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. There's this researcher from Oxford who's basically like the main head honcho of like friendship studies. His I know, it's so interesting. His name is Robin Dunbar. He identified 7 pillars of friendship that are really cool because the majority of them are really obvious, but then there's like one in particular that I was like, that is so cool. So one is same language, like obviously. Like
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
speak the same language, then that's gonna help you be
Yeah.
friends.
For
Place
sure.
of origin. Yeah, which is really cool because like one of my best friend or the first best friend that I met when I moved to LA was a work bestie. And she was she literally sat right next to me on like my first day of this new job. And we realized on that first day that we had gone to the same college, the same first 2 years of college. And then we both transferred after sophomore year. And it was this tiny, tiny college in Chicago, like tiny. So we were like, wait,
Whoa.
what? You went there? And we studied the same shit. We must have been in classes together. So there was
That's
just this
cool.
immediate bonding over this origin that we had, right?
Yeah.
But also that goes into the next point. Same educational trajectory is another one of the pillars. That's the third one.
Like to seek people out though that are different, than different. Like I've got people in all demographics, like because I want to learn. If
No,
they'll
for
have,
sure.
if they'll have me.
No, yeah, yeah, yeah. I think there's just like a natural ease to the
Yeah,
connection.
total propensity. Yeah, for sure.
hmm Um, then there's also the same hobbies and interests, which I think is really important.
Uh-huh.
Um, Same moral slash religious slash political views. So I think that, definitely makes sense. Like it's probably difficult to be with someone that's always challenging these fundamental beliefs you hold. Um, and then the other two are like not as obvious. Same sense of humor, which I think is kind of obvious, but it's just cool that that's one of the 7 pillars of friendship is like you laugh at the same shit, you know, but it's
Mhm.
so true. But then this one is like what got me, man. Same musical tastes. How
Yeah.
weird is that? That music holds that much power in our connection with each other. I think that's so true because I'm such a music freak. Like just a week ago, I sent a playlist to one of my friends in Illinois. It was like my from college. Like I was just like, oh my God, here's like all the new summer shit that I'm listening to. It is
Yeah.
such a connection point for me. Like granted, I did music for the longest time, but like, oh my God, that is so important. Or like that idea of like when you burn CDs for people, you make playlists for people, even
Oh,
romantic, I guess. But like, fuck, music has always been that's probably one of my favorite things to do with someone is go to a concert.
LimeWire. God,
Mm-hmm.
infect your computer with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I used to always steal my brother's CDs that he would make because he would just title them so hilariously, like "Konnichiwa, bitches." I was like, what could possibly be on here?
I mean, music is a really interesting connection point because, like, I mean, especially right now, you're really seeing this almost like on a very literal level, actually, of like like Taylor Swift, right? Anybody who
Oh my god.
sorry, everybody, I'm gonna alienate most of our listeners now, so maybe I just won't admit my real thoughts on that girl. Let me just refrain, Ryan. With Taylor specifically, like, I feel like people could just say I'm a Taylor Swift fan and immediately you're like, we're friends. But also, she's got the whole thing of friendship bracelets on this tour where like all the fans are going and they're exchanging friendship bracelets. Like that's like the thing when you go to her concert. So people are walking away with like hella friendship bracelets stacked on their arms.
What if you don't get any bracelets? How sad would you be? There was a time too when it was like not necessary. I remember like it wasn't necessarily cool to be a Swiftie. And then that shifted probably in the past, I don't know, 3. And all of a sudden it was like all these closet Taylor Swift fans came out of the woodwork and they were like cry like, and I'm talking, my stepdaughter's 26, but like I'm talking like grown ass, like older than me women. And I was like, I had no idea that this was your thing. Like, no judgment, but like, why are we crying? Why are we crying?
I think the hate started with the whole like Kanye thing, like I'm gonna let you finish, and then I think a lot of people just ragged on her. I don't know. I've got actually some like personal stories of why I don't like her. Not from my personal experience, but from people I know who have very much know her. And I'm like, oh God. Anyway, but that's an interesting one. But then the friendship point thing, or sorry, friendship bracelet thing, I think brings up an interesting point because so there's this book called Friendaholic, and it's written by this woman, Elizabeth Day, who's like doing some cool like friendship stuff, and it's all about how she was like she collected friends, like it was her job, like she cared about quantity over quality of friends, you know, for the longest time, but then realized that and I think many people do this, like the idea of popularity and like how there's safety in numbers
when
and
you're
like
younger. Yeah, when you're younger, especially if you're partying and drinking and you're going to the same. I know that when I quit drinking, that was the hardest thing because I was like, I really thought that a lot of people were like my close friends. And then and that was false. That was not true. So I'm interested to hear about this.
Yeah, well, so she has so many things. Like I definitely would recommend looking at her book, Friendaholic. But like one of the things like that she chose to write this for is because she really just went on like this kind of like spiritual. It was like in the pandemic when, you know, like I think a lot of people started falling away from friends and missing people and whatever. And she was just realizing like the actual meaning of friendship at that point being so disconnected from people. And like how you know, there were certain people in her life that actually mattered more. And so she started prioritizing her friends differently. I don't want to get too much into that, but a big part of why she wrote the book was because she realized like there's no language, like, or very little language to talk about like friendship or to express yourself with a friend like adequately. Like we know we go to relationship therapy, you can see a couples therapist, you can do all these tools to like nurture a romantic connection or family connections, but friendship connections is this like kind of more ambiguous thing. And she makes this really cool point about how like we have ritual for other types of connections in our lives, like you get married to a romantic person, right? Or celebrate an anniversary with them, but we don't have these rituals with friends. Like there's no friendship celebration, you know? So that's why I think the friendship bracelet thing is actually really interesting because that is something we did as kids. And it's different than like a birthday is not a friend event. That's an everybody event who wants to come and support you, family, romantic, whatever. And it's not a friend thing, really. Like you can be a friend on a birthday for someone, but
there's no celebratory, ritualistic. Oh, you have given me an idea. Maybe I like a friendship Super Bowl or something. I don't know, but I feel like we have missed the ball here.
I know, and it's funny because that we actually throughout so many cultures all over the world in ancient times, and maybe some of these have like persisted, but there were a lot of friendship rituals and traditions. There were like friendship dances in Native American tribes.
I would have to do a mating dance. You know what though? I'm thinking about like, so I just made my video for my last retreat, and I think I do these quarterly women's retreats, and what I love about them is like these women have a bond. They like celebrate birthdays together. Like you need help moving. Listen, if somebody shows the fuck up when you need help moving, that's a friend. Who in their right mind is going to do that?
Yeah.
And so I love, so I was thinking about, that's why this ritual thing in this conversation is hitting me so hard, because they come to the retreats, they have this community that they've created that's outside of me, which I love. But now it's like we need to up that game. Everybody needs to up their friendship game. Like prioritize. I love this.
Yeah. And it's there's other stuff that I think has persisted in different ways. Like, I don't know, in Africa, they would do a spitting ritual where basically, friends spit in their hands before shaking hands. And it made me think about like blood brothers. Like as kids, you'd do that shit.
Yeah.
Or like in adult world, if you got a good friend, like maybe like probably more of a bro thing, but like you have like your handshake with that person, right? So we have these little things that kind of signify, oh, this is a thing with you and me. We do this. And I guess that plenty of people maybe have those little things with like someone in their life, but we don't really have these like actual ceremonial like things anymore. And they used to in many, many cultures.
So interesting.
Yeah. So, and those are important to like cement that connection.
Yeah, well, and also every time if you see somebody and you have a seat, like there was one time this girl, that every time we saw each other, her name was Lauren. We would pretend that we were Green Bay Packer players, and we would run our feet like football players, and then I would leap into her arms. And so and it, because she was really tall, she's a really tall Russian person. And so, but it was when you would see, like, I would get so excited because I was like, ooh, because it creates that dopamine. You're like, here it comes. It creates actual chemical reactions in your brain. So I need to leap into somebody's arms. I could probably do it with my friend Liz or Wendy. Well, they got bad backs. I don't want to hurt Liz or Wendy. I'm gonna leap into y'all's arms.
Case by case. Case by case. We can do something else with those other friends that are going to be squished.
Yeah.
So Robin Dunbar also, in addition to these like 7 pillars, basically like was able to identify how many people we can have around us. Like how much can we actually handle as humans? Like
capacity.
How many? Yeah.
Yeah. What's that number? Hit me with the stats.
He said there's like 5 layers to it, which is really interesting. So basically, like your tight circle, like good, deep friendships, 5 max, 5.
You can only have 5 ride or dies. We ride at dawn. I'm gonna help you bury the body. Like you're coming to my house at 5 a.m. so I can find a tracker in your car that your psycho ex-boyfriend put in. Okay. All right. Got it. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. And what's interesting with that, I think, is if you choose to then be in a romantic relationship, especially if you get married and have kids with someone, then that circle of 5 typically goes down by 2 or 3 people. So, which is why it's funny, like a lot of friends complain, like as soon as they got married or as soon as they had that kid, like our friendship just stopped. Makes sense, but it's just like it's a thing. That circle of 5 is gonna go down.
Yeah, so I'm a childless married person. Like so, but we have Morgan and Chelsea. They have 2 kids. Like when they had kids, I wasn't. Duh.
Yeah.
Like at no point was I gonna be like, guys, I can't believe that you don't want to have pizza with me. Like, bro, you just, grew humans and shot them out of you. Like, my God,
No, for sure. No, it makes sense, right? But like the difference is that you are then losing these other types of connections in your life. Like you're choosing to do that. So like, what is the impact of that for you to now have less close friends outside of your romantic relationship? Which a thing that I've also studied is that marriages tend to strengthen or like last longer when both people have friends independent of each other. So you lose friends when you come into marriage, like or have kids or whatever, you're actually like increasing the chance that you're going to get like a divorce or something.
I'm watching a lot of people too. Because I'm 38, so you're at this like weird point where people are getting married for the second time, getting divorced, and you get to see where a lot of people are relationship wise, and those who did not cultivate their friendships outside, or say you had a jealous partner, like you had a really jealous partner who was, like, you're fucking toast.
Mhm.
That relationship is toast. If you can't see me or you can't see your friends because, your dude or your lady's jealous, your days are numbered, son. That's fucked.
Mhm.
As
Yeah.
it should be, like, give me a break. Y'all, like, you don't get to put a tag on somebody like that. Like, oh, and then the coming out of it too, like the person who's given up, say, like the person's given up all their friends, right? Except like that one hanger on or that won't ever, your North Star bestie. And that then, the person who gave up all the friends because of the jealous individual is pissed. Because now it's like, how do you make friends as an adult? That's why I started Wild Child Encounters. I kept hearing,
Mhm.
how do you make friends without drinking? Or as an adult, it's just like the fear of rejection is so huge.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So you got 5 ride or dies. And
Yeah.
then like what's the next? So that's like the inner layer of the cake, the cream puff in the middle, the most delicious part. Yum yum.
Yeah, and that's max. Like actually, like when you look at the most recent studies, um, pandemic, like that which were done in the pandemic, which different subjects that we should talk about. The pandemic's influence on like friendship. But the like right now, I think most it's like 60%. I forget the exact number, but it's like 60% of people I think say that they've maybe got like 2 or 3 really good friends in their life. So I think we can handle 5 really, really good ones, like we can actually dedicate that time, but I don't think many people have that many. And then on
Well,
the
it
next
is. It's,
layer,
it's dedicating. I mean, it is like to be
yeah,
that
it's
close,
work.
like that is a commitment.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The next layer is 15 good friends. It's like people that you could probably like talk to about a lot of things, but there's probably not like calling them up in the middle of the goddamn night
Second
crying
layer of
like
the
I
friendship cake. That 15 is pretty decent. Yeah, I can see that.
yeah. And then the third one is 50 friends. This is where like some of this gets like interesting to me, like where I'm getting kind of confused on some of this stuff.
Or is that acquaintance? Would that be acquaintanceville?
No, because acquaintances is the like fifth layer. There's like 6 layers on this actually. Fifth layer is the
Oh,
acquaintances. So 50 friends, which I would say like what is that? Like kind of people that you meet at a bar and you know their name and you're like, hey, and like you maybe like can recall something from the last conversation
the
with them
personal
and you're talking
details.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But then 150. Okay, so this is just like people kind of now that we're expanding to. It's not even just friends, I guess. It's like people. 150 is layer 4. That is meaningful contacts. This is actually a really important number
Ooh,
because yeah, so this is cool because this is like the average amount of people you invite to a wedding. This is the average number of people on a
yeah.
Christmas card list, which I think that's insane because I couldn't name 150 people. I don't think I could. Um, but I don't know. But then also like weirdly throughout history, like civilizations have just grouped in these in 150s about that number. Like medieval
Yeah.
villages would be 150 people. Currently like army units are about 150 troops at a time. Like this
Oh.
idea of 150 is really seen like all over the place. So I think
Meaningful
that's
contacts is interesting because as soon as you said that, I'm thinking of like just people where it's like there's potential there for a friendship to grow. Like I genuinely enjoy them when I see them. I'm stoked. Like I thought about like my friend Tina, like so what? And that's like, do you call that? I mean, I still call that. I'd be like my friend, but I have like a very warm feeling for these people.
I think the 150, I think, is where like cousins come involved. Like Sean, I would put above this for me.
Yeah.
But like that's where it's like those are those people that's like you come to my wedding, you're on my wedding list, you're on my it's almost like obligatory keeping up with
Yeah. I hate
people just to be nice or
obligation.
whatever.
Yeah.
Like I feel like what you're talking about would be for me more of that 50 friends person where it's
150.
like I'm
Yeah.
excited to see you and you could maybe move to that 15 good friends
Yeah, you play
eventually.
your cards right,
You know?
you can
Yeah.
move, and I think that's too, you can probably move layers, like, if you wanna be on the center of the cream puff, you better put some energy into that, otherwise, but there ain't nothing wrong with 2nd, 3rd place.
Yeah. And then the fifth layer is 500 acquaintances, which are
Oh,
just like, I think those are definitely going to be more of those passing people. You like can say something.
"What's up, bro?" Yeah.
And then on the final layer here is 1,500, but
Whoa.
that's the amount of people we can recognize, like names, faces, like where our brain can actually handle 1,500 people, essentially.
So crazy.
Isn't that nuts?
What's that layer called?
I don't even know if it has like an actual name.
They didn't even get it. They didn't even get a name after acquaintance. You didn't even get a name. Level 6.
No, it actually does have a name. I just can't. I think did I delete that?
The disrespect.
I think it's like recognition, right? Um, so that it's interesting, like those are the layers of people that we get, and really it's like so it's not like you need 1,500 people in your life.
So we're looking at like 1,800 people that you can. I mean, I'm not the math ain't math.
Well, no. Those
altogether though, max like
1,500 is max. 1,500 is max because that 5 would fall in that 1,500,
Oh, okay,
right?
okay, gotcha.
So the rings kind of go outwards. You can literally look this up. It's called Dunbar's number, and the 151 is really the big one. You're supposed to kind of like have 150 people in like an address book that you would, that you'd like have their contact info. The 500 acquaintances, you don't have everybody's contact info.
Well, and what does social media do with all this? Because social media has created such a platform now where, that's how you and I got close. Like, that's how people reconnect. That's how people, like friendship is happening there. I might not see a lot of people. Like I saw this dude walking in the gym today that I know. And I was like, I already know what's going on with you. Your dog died. This is happening, so, and we didn't stop and chat, but it was like like because of social media, I know what's up.
Totally. And I mean, that's how I connected with Eric, right?
Yeah.
And now him and I are working together. Like, and it's cool I think it's really special when that online relationship goes offline. You're like, let's do something more now.
Let's
like the
do
connection's
the friendship.
established. Yeah.
Let's take this off of TikTok or Instagram.
Yeah. Which also is what happened with like Blair. I don't know if you're listening, Blair, but like my friend Blair, who like we did like a
you did your
full moon hike with, and
I've heard lovely things about you, Blair.
If you're listening, I don't know if you're listening anymore. He used to listen, actually. He did like the breathwork episode and actually did breathwork. I remember that. But if you're listening, Blair, let's hang again, bitch. Like that was the one time that we hung out. Like,
that's another thing. You'll hang out. You'll have like, you'll go and hang out one time and then life happens. Like, so
I know.
It's that consistent effort.
And that's what happened with him. He's literally working full time. He just started school. And he's like now going into broadcast journalism. So he's like totally fucking like switching careers right now. And like, so he's fucking got 2 basically full-time jobs. Of course he can't fucking hang out and see anybody, Yeah,
I'm in an interesting position too. Like one of my friends, she was like, bitch, which by the way, women, we got to start calling each other better names. Like dudes call each other like boss, chief, like we're like bitches, hookers. But anyway, she was like, bitch, like, what do I have to come to one of your events to see you? And it's like, yeah, my bad. Like I'm out of it, like I love you, like listen, this one's only $25. Like like well, next week's a little bit more pricey. How much, I'm sorry.
I know it's I know there's like a literal investment with these connections.
I'll tell you, I'm a terrorist to be friends with, I think, because like I'm so ADHD. I don't mean to be, but I just, whatever is in front of me has my full attention. And so if you go, so people, I'll go through. So I've now made a conscious effort to go back through text messages. Like I just texted back my friend Stacy from a week ago. And thankfully these people give me grace. But if you don't, like, and I knew people, I'm like, listen, I will get back to you within 7 business days.
This is an important part of actually establishing connection with people. Like, and if a big thing to learn, kind of like the saying no thing as well, is that expectation that you set with someone where like we feel bad if somebody asks for our number and it's like, we should hang sometime, and you give your number and damn well, I'm probably not going to hang out with you, just to tell that person, honestly, is probably the better thing to do at that stage. If you're at capacity with your people, like you can tell them, listen, like I would love to. I wish I could, but like I don't want to set that expectation of like I'm going to text you back all the time and stuff because I don't know that I can right now. And it's better to do that and then see if that relationship, I guess, can,
You know what? Somebody just
grow.
told me, Katie Heatley, she just did this. She was telling me about how a girl was like, "Oh, we should hang out," and she was like, "You know, I'm at capacity," and it was, she was like, and the way I was like, "That's how'd it go?" And she was like, "Well, I mean, it doesn't matter. Like I was honest, yeah." So,
Mhm.
and I respected that.
Yeah, it's the same, honestly, like kind of recommended that even like at first interaction, if you're kind of like, this isn't someone that like we're not aligning super, super, super well, like I don't want to exchange numbers with them, right? It's the same thing with
Mhm.
like dating. Like it's kind of best on the first date if you know this isn't really going to go anywhere, don't lead them on, just let them know on date one.
Don't fuck them. Don't lead them on, and don't fuck them.
And that's, different. Like this is kind of what constitutes friendship as well, is like this is a friend is someone you're choosing to be with platonically, and there really isn't a duty to it. Like you have a duty with a family member.
Yeah.
You don't have this guilt or expectation from someone else like to get back to you in a certain amount of time, unless that person's like, hey, I need an answer by this point or whatever. Like I can choose to say every week I'm going to check in with you, or like because I care about you, like I put that
Yeah.
duty on myself or that obligation on myself. But like I don't feel guilty for like one of my best friends in Illinois that her and I don't jump on phones except for like once every 2 years.
You know what I was thinking too is like I've got, I keep seeing on TikTok, like, so all these TikToks are these dudes saying like you're platonic for like men and women can't be friends.
See, like that's heteronormative too, because then you look at the gay community and it's like,
Exactly, exactly. Well, I'm not worried. Yeah, I'm not at no point am I am I worried that like you're trying to have sex with me.
well, no, 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 exactly, right? But then I'm like thinking, like, okay, well, good God, living in West
I mean,
Hollywood.
you'll appreciate my boobs if I flash you or something, but and also I would flash you because it's safe. It's a safe flashing. It's a safe consensual flashing.
I don't need it though. Thank you. I'm not. It's not a reason that I like to be friends with you.
Thank you,
Um,
but no thank you.
yeah,
I
yeah,
will pass on this. I am not interested in this opportunity.
yeah. I do think it's part of why gay relationships though are really fucking tricky because everybody fucks each other. Like it's
Oh,
not normal like in
yeah.
a heterosexual kind of relation. So that's really
Well,
weird.
and there are girls who are like girls by girls, it's like I've had experiences with friends where it was like, the next day I was like, all right, good game. And then never happened again. And it was like, toodaloo. And
Yeah,
everything was fine. So yeah, I mean, I think from each sexuality, perspective has a different corner.
definitely. I think also with the social media thing, like something that's really interesting is like the parasocial relating, right? Where it's like we think we know someone because we follow them, so they seem like a friend, but they're not our friend. We don't know them. We've maybe never even had a conversation with them at all. Like not even in DMs. We just feel this friend connection, which is the sense of voyeurism with social media too, where people can peer in on like our relationship. Like it's
Yeah,
weird,
well,
you
that's it.
know?
I don't think I know anyone, but I'll tell people will be I feel like people feel that way about me and you. Did that makes because we're very I live certain parts of my life very out loud, but I made a conscious effort a long time ago to take my personal life off of social media. So you share I share what you want, what I want you to know.
But that's also right. The social media relating is such a tailored version of anyone. So those relationships are just different. And it's like literally on social media, you can turn someone on and off. You can mute them
Mhm.
in real life. If like we're hanging out and you kind of like piss me off, like if we're at the mall
Unfriend.
together, yeah, like I can't, what the fuck? We got to deal with it right then and
You
there.
mute. Yeah.
Like it's just different. It's different. So like these relations, and you can't hug someone through social media. And this is a really big part of friendship is this I as physical touch, and actually like what that does. I actually have physical touch as a whole like podcast episode idea for us that I've like had in the works here.
Yeah.
But it does relate to friends, because like just that idea of like the more you know someone, the more comfortable obviously you are with having them touch you. And like this, like, I mean, it's just been studied, like it's so weird. It's like when you don't know someone, a stranger, it's pretty very freaking limited to handshake only, you know, but like over time you feel like a connection. And this is actually like very primitive, where if you look at, it's called grooming. You look at primates, they spend like 60% of their time literally grooming each other, far beyond what's even needed for grooming. And it's because primates develop an emotional connection through the touch. Like that's literally how they're relating, is like, let me like pick all this fuzz off of you or something, right? So our version of grooming as we've evolved has come into this hugging, you know, element, or why two boys are allowed to hold hands when they're friends in other countries, right? Like it's a connection point, and that
So
physical touch is
that is,
so important.
it's so wild. Two things. One, there was a study where you can like, if someone, you'll know who has personal relationships with one another, because I think like you'll allow that person within 6 inches of you. It's, I forget the exact numbers, but it's like if someone is too close to you, you're like, whoa there, partner, you back up, buddy, you know, like. Whereas if you know that like, I don't mind if my legs touching you, or you know, like I'm comfortable around you, so you can always see who is kind of close, do like, because of how close, how physically close they're standing to another. And also, this is back to heteronormative things, but like you see like Russia, you know, Europeans, they'll, you know, like straight men will kiss each other, they'll hold hands, they'll take Turkish baths together. The United States, because we were founded by Puritans, it's permeated into our culture. And so dudes are not comfortable hugging, crying, you know, holding hands, you know, like an American dude will be like, what in the actual fuck? And because of that, that is why they become so protective over their quote unquote woman, because that is the only physical touch that they can have. Even things get like, if your mom hugs you too much. My brother dated this girl who, this woman, and you know, my brother and my parents, I give them a peck on the lips. It's not like that, we've always done that. And it was a topic of conversation, and Ian was like, this is not a topic like that I'm willing to discuss. Like, you guys are making a big deal over nothing, you know, like, because it was in a group setting, and Ian got pretty upset about it. But to me, it's just like, it's not like I pecked my dad on the lips. What's wrong with you that you like? There's something wrong with you that you think that like you took it there, not us. Like,
right. Well, I mean, no, I know. Like, it's just funny. I think it's just a difference. Like, my family does not have that relationship whatsoever at all. So, like, I would view that as different. I wouldn't necessarily. For me, that would be weird. But like, that I'm not viewing you like you're weird for this. I know that that's a very normal thing, and it probably means you had like a bit of a healthier, closer relationship with your family than I did. You know, like that's it. That's how I view it. But it would be very weird for me now, especially now. Like I can't transition into that. It's very, very strange.
Yeah, like that was our, you know, it was just, and like I said, it's a pick. I would, if anyone wanted to really, I mean, I'll hug and pick you, but like it's just you can't be pecking people.
Yeah.
Pecking people without their
No.
knowledge and consent. But I would totally be a pecker. I would pick everybody if I was in that culture. Just pick.
Totally. Well, and I think honestly, that's like a very gay thing. Like gays constantly slap each other's asses, like and not the normal. Yeah, we kiss each other. Like it's crazy. Which, honest to God, was the weirdest thing for me, because that was not how I was socialized, like at all. But now it is so common and comforting. I think because I think a lot of probably gay people just do have that lack of emotional openness, like from growing up, that it becomes more important later in life or something. So like the idea of physical touch for me is totally, I mean, it's like I have all the love languages. I think all of them are important to me, but physical touch is so important in anything.
Oh, I like a hand holder. I love
I love it.
You know, like, and so a lot of like dudes that I've been with, they aren't. So like my buddy Toodles, Todd, the second he sees me, he will grab like we're just hold hands all night. And he'll just like kiss me and like and people are like, "Are you like no, he's like super gay." But we're just holding hands and like he's meeting this need right now that so many will not. I went to go hold the first time I went to go hold Josh's hand, he was like, "Ew, gross." He was like, "It's just clammy." This was like 13 years ago, but I was like, "Really?" I
Oh my
love
God.
hand holding. Like, so these little hands,
Yeah.
anybody wants to hold my hand, I've been deprived. I'm reaching out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. And again, it's like that physical touch. It really is like you can tell a lot about the closeness of two people by how much they are willing to like allow the
Yeah.
touching. It's really, really
Once you
interesting.
see it, you can't unsee it because you'll be like, "Oh, y'all are close. Y'all
Hmm.
are close." You might be pretending you're not close, but oh, look, you're close. Yeah, because if someone gets too close to me, particularly like a dude that I don't know, I'm like, back the fuck up.
Hmm. You know, let's talk a little bit about the like, because we're already on that, I guess, like with the physical touch thing being so important, which is really interesting. But like the health benefits of friendship, and what it does to you, which I've mentioned in another episode briefly, but I actually didn't, I guess, capitalize on it enough. I didn't realize how deep it went. Um, like how bad isolation can be for someone. Having quality friends, literally quality friendships, is the number one best predictor of life longevity, and all health issues are alleviated when you have quality friendships, and that's it. Direct health benefits, welfare benefits, happiness benefits. Like it is the
Whoa.
your best prediction point for surviving after a heart attack is, do you have friends or not? If you don't have
Mm.
friends, it's literally like a heart attack could just happen. I mean, probably the chances of it are actually decreased if you have friends, but like if a heart attack happens, whether you survive or not, the more than smoking, it's like actually like the actual percentage of this, hold on, I have it. It's smoking 20 cigarettes a day is less of a risk factor for your health on and like surviving a heart attack than having quality fucking friends. So that's like how fucking important this like idea of social connectivity is, and how detrimental it can be when you're feeling lonely. Seriously. So I think it's like that's like blowing my mind. And it's really funny to me, like just combining with the physical touch thing. It's like I'll go like a week or something without seeing another person, you know, like I'll run into my roommates or something. But if I'm just here and I'm not going out, especially now with like some friends like going away and all my friends are long distance, I cannot begin to express like the way I feel, like where I'm like, I just want to hug. Oh my fucking God. Like to not have had touch, right? And it's the same
Yeah.
like with babies. Like a parent needs to like touch a baby. Like that baby will survive if it's literally held, you know? So it's that kind of feeling, like this stuff like matters. That's just the only thing, like the physical touch I feel like in my body when I've gone too long without literally having
Yeah.
human contact. It's
Literally talking
crazy.
about being holding hands. I'm like, dang, it has been so long since somebody held my hand.
I know. Well, and it's why I don't know. I know. Dude, I know. Well, and it's like I missed a man's house, you know, last time I spent the
Yeah.
night there on the hurricane episode.
Uh-huh.
Um, I was just like, I was, well, we didn't really sleep. We were just like laying in bed or whatever. But like at one, he like literally, you know, put his leg on me at one point. And it was just like, it was like, I was thinking we were
Yeah.
about to fall asleep or something. And then it just like the feeling of that, I'm like, dang, God damn, I missed this, you know, like, oh, like
Yeah.
there's just something in you that like literally increases. And it is like actually like a chemical thing too,
Yeah.
having physical
I
touch.
mean,
It's
like
like,
you hug someone for we need like 8 hugs a day just for like mental, like just for a baseline. And the hugs have got to be 20 seconds. And so, and if they're not, and a lot of people get uncomfortable because of this Puritan bullshit. if you are hugging somebody for the 20-second mark, it's like, oh no, I'm not. I'm gonna get in even deeper. I'm little too, so like, good luck. I will crawl in there. But yeah, like I will throw my legs over someone that I'm comfortable with in a second. Like, what's up? Here are these Walmart feet. How you doing? Like, I have, so as manifestors, in human design, we have repelling auras. What's so fucked about this is I know how intimidating I am, though I'm a small, attractive woman. I'm such a love bug, though. Like, if you can bypass this, like I will curl up in your neck and just,
Yeah, yeah.
and I'll purr like a little cat. I'm a human golden retriever.
Yeah, yeah. No, I feel you. So like two ways to prevent a friendship from dying, like the two biggest ones are doing activities together and
Mhm.
then contact, literal just physical touch. That's why I think proximity is really important and for the most part, right? But so men on average, I hate gendering anything, but like on average, men need to do stuff together. They don't need the physical touch with each other, but they need activity. They want to go hike a mountain together. They want to do all this shit, right? Like,
Yeah.
but women need conversation and contact. So that's an interesting thing there. Like I need both for damn sure. I want both. Like I'm so like balanced in my masculine, feminine in that way, I
So
think.
at the retreat I just did, I had them, so there were 8 women. And so I came across this like tantric friendship. And so
Mm.
I like they were hugging for and looking into each other's
Oh yeah, I
eyes.
saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I had them like intertwine and they sat there for a while and the people who were so adverse to it came out of it like that was the most amazing thing. And I was like, told you. And yeah, like I was like, damn, there was just one more I
It
could have participated.
yeah, it's do you know what's so funny? Because like I used to do acting stuff like when you are like when you have a scene partner or something and you need to develop that chemistry to like get into these characters or whatever, you don't know that person, which then your body tenses up because that physical touch element, you're like,
Yes.
but that's something that you do and you stare at each other in the eyes and you just examine each other's face for like a minimum of like 10 minutes, like silence. And then,
Whoa.
but the, oh my, and it's so fucking uncomfortable this first few, well, the whole time, but
Yeah.
like, but when you're done, this intimacy is immediately established like because it's this forced proximity basically, right? So it's so fucking weird how much that
That's
like
so
would
cool.
help actors in like a situation like that. Yeah, so there's
You
efficacy to
have to
that.
think about how many people like don't even like because I am a direct eye contact person.
Hmm.
Like I look you in your eyes, and it's always surprising who like who can't handle the heat.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It is weird. I know. I go back and forth. Like I can do it purposefully, but
I
it
don't
can
mean
get.
to. I'm just like when you're talking, like I think it's so disrespectful if someone's like if someone's even talking at like if I at a podium and I'm listening, like I want you to know I'm invested. I'm looking at you. I'm nodding. I'm like, yes, get it. Because that's scary. So it's like if I'm talking to someone and they are not looking at me at all, you're lucky I read energy for a living because I can tell that you're insecure and but if you're being disrespectful, boy, this conversation is over. Fuck you. It's like it's one of the most disrespectful things I think. Like, you can't look at me at all. Like, bye.
It's weird. It's weird. I definitely noticed that with other people. I don't know. I try to match other people a lot though, which is I shouldn't do, but you can kind of just tell when someone's uncomfortable with it. And I'm like, well, I'm not gonna make you uncomfortable by like just like being so present in your eye contact. It's weird. People are so
look,
strange. But
look at me. Look
yeah,
at me in the eyes.
it's so weird. So another like health thing that I thought was really interesting is this study that came from the University of Utah, basically about ambivalent friends, which ambivalent friends are friends you have mixed feelings about. You like, I don't know what I'm going to get every time that I see this person. Like they're in your life though, but you never know like how it's going to go. And those are the worst friends to have, like on a physical health end as well. Basically, they like put blood pressure monitors on a fuck ton of people. And when you are with people you love or hate, There's no spike in blood pressure. Even people you hate. It's like you just because you know what you're gonna get, you know you don't like them.
Yeah.
When you don't know what you're gonna get with someone, your blood pressure spikes, and it actually spikes to such a high level that it physically changes your DNA. Like they are bad for your health because you're constantly in the face of that uncertainty, you're constantly in this shape shifting vibe where you're changing yourself too much, trying to adjust to like not knowing what to do and what you're going to get. So like those are basically the people, like if you're trying to like slim down, the people in your life, like truly, which is like very recommended, honestly, those friendship breakups that need to happen, which we should talk about how to do a friendship breakup, but those people need to like start with the ambivalent ones. Make a fucking list of those friends. And
that is the worst. That is the worst. And when you don't know, and it's like there's such an interesting. I was listening to Lewis Howe's podcast, and I forget what psychologist was on there, but like women have been given. She was saying that like women have been given this like free pass on essentially bad behavior. Like we can kind of do whatever we want to right now because it's like if I like no you can't, I can post whatever I want to. You're the patriarchy will not take me, like I like anything that is mildly constricting or we deem threatening at this point in life, we can say, and so we get a free pass. So you have people out here behaving, like, because I only feel this way with women. And the minute you said this, I'm like, I can identify these friendships where it's like, I don't know what I'm going to get with you, what kind of mood you're going to be in. And you think that you are entitled to your mood. But you then think that you are entitled to bring your bullshit to this gathering. No, motherfucker. Like if you're entitled to that, I've gotten to the point like I will blow you up. I'll be like, what's the fucking problem? You're not going to go around here and passive aggressive everybody, or I'm removing myself. And guess what? I am the party. So when I leave, you think people are going to be happy about that? Nay, nay. And oh God, it pisses me off. Control. I don't come out if I don't feel good. Okay.
yeah.
Because I know the effect I have on people. And so it was wild to hear this because it was like, it's so true. Women think that it's like, and I yes, we better press, blah, blah. But like, you don't get a free pass to just behave like an asshole. And also it's like, you accept me how I am, all my bad behavior, but dudes have got to be on the most perfect playing field at all times. And so it's creating quite an interesting dating environment, and also now that I'm thinking about it, a friendship environment, because you're taking that same energy from dating. And it's like, take me as I do accept you, but have some fucking manners. God, it pisses me off.
Well, and I think like, yeah, I think like a big thing with friends, I think about like, cause like just you saying manners is like making me think of this, how like it is so normal for different friends to have different purposes in your life, right? Like you have different types of friends. Like even within that inner circle of 5, one of them might be your like going to the movies buddy that you just like every week you go to the fucking movies together or something, and that's like what you bond over or whatever. Or like a drinking buddy, right? Or like your spiritual buddy. Like I don't know, like you got different people for different reasons, and there's such a uniqueness in every relationship. And so every relationship, like those quote unquote expectations of that connection, I think are allowed to be different, and you decide what that is like with that person. But like talking about those expectations is important, just as like you would set that expectation with someone else that you're like saying no to exchanging numbers with. Like you're like, I'm so sorry, I can't do this. But like you have to set certain expectations with other people, but it really depends on who that person is, what were the circumstances meeting them, what purpose are they serving in your life, that transactional process. What are you giving, what are you gaining? I think that there's so like manners, right? Like I would accept different things from different types of friends,
That's a valid point. Yeah,
it's interesting.
it really
What about friendships with non-living things, like kids who have imaginary friends, or your toys are your friends as a child? Isn't that interesting how we literally develop those relationships? But also I
have a wooden I have a wooden spoon that has a face named Erwin.
Like currently?
I know where he is right now. He's in my backpack. His name's Erwin St. Randy, and I am like legit. It's like It's like Wilson in Castaway. I have booked, like, if I don't know where Erwin St. Randy is, like, I'm stressed.
Interesting. I never need a like, or like as an adult, I don't have that. But I remember as a kid, it's like I really
We
believed
one
my
day
stuffed animals were alive.
I still have 2 stuffed animals that if something were to happen to them, I would be absolutely devastated. It's a weird
Yeah.
attachment. The spoon came to play when we were drinking, and we just like, there were a lot of assaults at this one bar we went to. So I was like, all right, well, I need a weapon. And so I went into my kitchen. And that was the sturdiest thing I had. And then we got drunk and we made a little face on him, and then he just became like this fixture.
He animated himself.
And yeah, and then it just he just kept going.
Interesting.
What about plants? People who have
Yeah, this is a
like
thing.
you put like, I mean, I get stressed
Well,
out
and
when I've
pets
got
for
to watch
that
someone's
matter
house.
too, right?
Oh, well, pets, obviously, there's a loving little creature that you are in charge of. It's like, the child. But plants, it's like you fuck with somebody's bamboo, and bamboo's hard to kill, or like some of a weeping willow or something. Oh, you better, like, what are the precise instructions so I don't harm this living being that's purifying your air and gives you such joy.
Mm-hmm.
Stress.
I know it's weird. And like artificial intelligence becoming like people who will become friends with AI, which I think is really a thing. Especially like, I don't know, with how easily social media has created a weird connection point. I just think AI will also fulfill that role for certain people. But there's like this one guy I saw, he said like something so cool where he was like, at the end of the day, and he's like in AI. Um, and he's like, 10 years from now, we cannot conceive of the way that this world's going to change based on AI alone. He believes that there will be like AI friends and all that shit. But he's like,
But how does that work? I mean, I'm
well,
obviously, concerned about the whereabouts of a wooden spoon, so I'm not like
right. Well, it's
judging,
just
how
like I
does,
think especially for people, it's a filling the void, like
would you
especially
fight
like a
with them?
loneliness.
Would you be
Yeah, you
like,
could
what
pick a
if the
fight with them.
AI goes to make friends with your arch nemesis? Like, it's like, I
Well,
don't want to be your
I
friend.
don't think. Well, I
What was
don't
that
know.
movie?
Maybe a good.
What was that
Um,
movie with them? It was Scarlett Johansson played it, the AI. It was something. It was
oh
a long time ago. It was like 12 years ago.
no, I remember what
What
it
is it?
is. I can't. I mean, I can't remember the name of it now. But I know what you're talking about. It was a good movie.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, I think like even just the computer AI, right? Like chatbots sort of things. Like we can kind of already establish like I could fucking befriend Chat GPT if I wanted to. I could tell Chat GPT, you're gonna be my best friend now. Act like my best friend. Ask me questions like a best friend would ask me, and it will do that, right? People I think who especially are probably lonely are gonna be susceptible to this sort of stuff. But this AI expert that I was listening to was basically saying like I could go broke, the world could go into catastrophic like environmental damage. Gold might become the only thing of value, but that the actual only thing of value beyond that, and AI can replace everything in 10 years time, he said. And he's like, the only thing that it cannot replace is the actual human connectivity. AI cannot give me a hug the way that a person can give me a hug. Maybe in a robot form, sure,
Yeah.
they can give me a hug, but it's
Nuh-uh, those
not the
sex
same.
robots. There's a sex robot brothel in Houston,
Yeah,
Texas.
yeah,
Like, what
but that's
is
not the
going on?
same. Like we know that there's
Duh! But like, what?
yeah, AI is fucking
What?
nuts. But so I think it will become a thing, but I don't know. This like I think in the absence of friends, like true good connectivity, people are turning to other things like a plant, right? Like that in the pandemic, everybody was like growing plants and shit. Which pandemic, by the way, is this kind of like myth almost that I didn't know was kind of like a myth about like it did increase isolating effects, I guess, but the studies all showed that pre-pandemic, the level of friendship, social contact was already going significantly downward. Like the pandemic obviously made social isolation a little bit more exacerbated, but this like
Be interesting because 2019 was like one of the most social years that I had. Like I
well,
was,
but that's one person, right?
yeah,
Like this is
yeah,
just in general, like we really are losing this relational ability. And so then when you look at or when like research says like what are the long-term effects of the pandemic, right? On social isolation and all this stuff and like the epidemic of loneliness that's happening. Basically, this was already happening pre-pandemic, which is funny because people don't really, I don't think, identified it or talked about it until pandemic, right? But it
yeah.
was happening already. Um, there are going to be no long-term effects because we are just hardwired for socialization. So we will come back to contact. This idea of getting back to normal is already like pre-pandemic was already going down. So we're already experiencing that. The only people that they think will experience like significant long-term effects from the pandemic are people over the age of 65, because they're already very, very isolated, I guess, and like the
The
people are
elderly,
dying.
yeah.
Yeah, just very hard. And then young children, very young children, because they miss school, and that is like how they socialize and learn how to be friends. And a lot of people are getting homeschooled now because of all this stuff. And then anybody that was dealing with like very extreme mental health issues where they just now have like I have so much social anxiety, I feel like, because of the pandemic. But I, and I don't know, but like I think people who were really dealing with very serious mental health issues are probably going to really have long-term effects from this, but otherwise there won't be long-term effects basically socially. That because of the pandemic specifically, whatever long-term downward trend that's happening socially is something that was already happening.
Totally different.
Really interesting though, right?
Yeah.
Um, the only like there's like two other things I feel like I want to say about this. One of them is like a really interesting point. I basically I have this client who's weird, but they're creating a new city. And it's I know weird, right?
I
And
always wanted to create a city. Is it a
yeah,
real one?
yeah, it's
Like
a
it's
real
not in the internet. It's like a real.
yeah, well, yeah, and I guess neighborhood. It's a neighborhood within a city, so they're creating a neighborhood.
How
Um,
cool.
I know, and they're setting it up like so different. I can't even begin to explain like
Where is
how
this city?
dope this is. It's called Indigo. It's outside of Houston.
Because
And
Texas has got cool stuff, dude. Texas is a
yeah,
cool place.
like
Indigo.
Republicans. Okay. I'm joking. And no, but so anyway, this community is literally being built right now. Um, the design of it itself is drastically different from like this grid format we know. So basically, what my point of this is saying, what is urban planning's role in social isolation? Because you look up walkable cities, like we don't have them anymore. We are car driven shit. There are places like Greenwich in New York, right? These like historical neighborhoods where they're walkable, and the neighborhoods are built for connection points. They encourage social interaction. We have built suburbs and all new communities, like in many decades now, have been built literally to isolate or to stack people on top of each other in these weird ways that like isolate us. But so anyway, they're building this neighborhood to basically show we need walkable cities again. They're doing so much to it as well, where there's like it's
That's
centered
sick.
around like a working farm for the neighborhoods. There's this farm that's going to be there, and like it's huge, and they're bringing back all this like native plant life and animal life. But like even like it's like people are allowed to drive, but even just like the layout of
Like
streets
frowned
is
upon. Like you don't need to
different.
drive.
No, it's
Yeah.
not even frowned upon. It's just like it limits the need. Like you can, wherever you live in this neighborhood, you can get basically like all of your basic needs handled within a quarter-mile distance. So people are just, it's like, I don't need to get in my car because I can go get anything I need. And it's like, it's basically going to bring back this like safety element for kids
I
so they can
always
go
wanted to
play
live in
outside. Like,
yeah, that's so wild that kids can't play outside and that you'll get arrested. Cause like
yeah.
my fam, like I was like in the deep woods. Sometimes I was like, I'm not sure where we are, guys. We are lost. We're 8, but you figured it out.
Mm-hmm. It's
That's so
I know.
cool.
And those are like pivotal friends development moments, right? Like,
Yes.
so I think like that is going to be really cool. And you can actually like Google like walkable cities and you'll see like there's actually a serious conversation happening on a very large scale. There's just not many people that are actually doing anything about it right now, except for these people right now. And so like even they're like downtown. They're basically calling it like a revival of like the old Main Street idea from like small
I
American
love it.
towns where they're like making it like 3-story buildings downtown and the first level is all retail and then the top 2 levels above it are like office spaces and apartments so you can live above a business and then like you're just on the ground level you're developing relationships
They're
with
doing
local
that a little
business
bit in
owners and all this
Charleston
stuff.
too. But it's like it's not as it's not a full ass town.
Yeah.
It's just like a
It's interesting.
complex. Yeah.
Yeah. There and like I mean there's a barn that's going to be in the middle of this thing like a massive barn where they're going to have concerts and like all these like clubs and shit can meet there like all
Sorry,
this really cool shit.
Cash Money Town or Cash Money.
I don't
I
it's just
love
like yeah, it's just cool like and it's just it's literally urban planning. Like
Yeah.
and like the way that we've developed our cities too. Honestly, I mean I won't go into the whole thing. I've done so much research on this, but
Oh,
like
it's
they're
racism. So,
racist.
yeah, I was about
Yeah.
to say it's. I mean, the way why people the suburbs started is because back
Yeah.
in the day, white people were like, nope,
Yep.
don't want to be neighbors, nope, and so they started moving out of downtowns, urban dwellings, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So and
Mm-hmm.
make don't we got the facts before we speak on this, so don't come for us. Do your research.
Oh hell yeah, please fucking do your oh my god, I could totally speak on this forever. Yeah, it's a whole thing. So this is I don't know, I think it's gonna be really healthy for human interaction, this neighborhood, but like I just think in general, and there are ways to increase walkability in cities that aren't walkable right now too. So like I don't know, and urban planning is really trying to tackle this element and it will increase organic, serendipitous run ins with people. It facilitates those connection points, which is such a beautiful thing to do. I just think it's really,
That's like the neighborhoods. Like, so I live in suburbia, but they'll have like the mailboxes instead of outside. They'll be in like one spot, one building, so people have to congregate there. So
yeah.
interesting.
Um, yeah, it's so weird.
I love
That was just like a really cool point to know because I was like
Good
doing
luck,
something.
Indigo, Texas. I totally want to check it out when it's done.
It's I know, I know. Um, and then the only other thing I have is like, how do you handle a friendship breakup? Because people ghost and like in the friendaholics book like that author basically is her theory about ghosting is like we ghost because again we don't have language, we don't know how to tell someone
And you
this
don't
isn't
want to hurt
fulfilling me
somebody.
anymore.
You don't want to
Yeah, we
hurt
don't want to hurt
somebody's
anybody.
feelings,
Yeah.
And so it's easier. You think it's easier, but it leaves that person it leaves that person, you're wondering like it leaves you question, what did I do wrong? What did, like what
Yeah,
happened?
it's
I had a
worse.
friend like straight up, we have an interesting relationship. But when we were 18, she straight up just moved back home to which was multiple states away. Didn't tell anybody. I didn't hear from her for 5 years, didn't respond to anything. And then she popped back up on MySpace and was like, "Hey, sorry about that."
I mean it's like
Oh, I'm not done. So she comes to visit. I was living in New Zealand at the time. So she comes to visit. We reconnect. She moves back here. We get close again on social media. We get into a little tiff. It was a little tiff. I see on Facebook that she's moving back home. What? We were close. What? She moves back. I mean, like this has been a pattern. And so this last it's one of these friendships where we just can't, we just connect. But this is the first time that I pulled away, but I was seriously depressed because I pulled away from this friendship this last time. It's a 20-year friendship because I watched BJ, I watched someone I love die in 45 days,
yeah.
get eaten away by cancer. So I didn't have the language
Yeah.
You know, like I did, because I was like, I'm fucking depressed. I mean, this is when you and I really started to get close. I worked 65 days straight. I'm like, I don't know how to, like, how can I tell all y'all that I am sad and that, like, I don't want to, you know, like, and I don't trust a lot of people with my feelings. So I'm going to just do what I need to do. But I have a feeling this talk that she wants to have is going to be about because this is the first time I've ever done that. But it was like, I'm depressed. Like, I was so sad. Like, that was a terrible thing to see. But meanwhile, did you not forget that you have vanished not once, but twice with no motherfucking explanation? And I love her. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, that'll be interesting. You'll have to follow up. I don't think ghosting's a good idea. Clearly, it's not healthy. It's not good for anybody involved. And we just need the language. And I guess according to Elizabeth Day, she's like, if you're going to go through a friendship breakup, you just want to make sure you let them go with love and that you can still cherish like the memories and the times you had together that were good. But it's typically just a matter of people change. We can be in different spaces and it no longer makes sense. And it's okay. I wish you well.
So I think, like, how do you know you want it to be over? Like,
Well,
you know, how do
I
you
think
know
it's
it's
the
just not a break?
ambivalence.
You know, oh, okay. Because it was like, what if you're just going through a weird spot? You know, like your
It's
friend
hard.
died or something. You know, like how do you? So it's the ambivalent, but so it's still wanting the best for them. Okay, because it's like there's so many friendships where it's like, I love you. We're just in a weird spot right now. We're just at different life spots, but I don't want to break up with you.
Or I think another thing that I like kind of hit me is like if you need too much from someone, if part of like a big fundamental part of that relationship is like always having an expectation of like, I need this from you, like, or like calling on someone for something all the damn time, like, that's not okay. Like, there shouldn't be that over reliance on a friend, you know, like it's hard. Like the best friends that you have are the ones you need the least. You don't need them, you know, but they're there and you love them so much, like just for being, just for who you are, and that's it. I don't need anything from you. I just love you, and that's it. But it's hard to get to that point if you don't have a support system yourself to get other things that you need for yourself, right? So it's very difficult like to have those relationships because the rest of your life needs to be okay.
Well, it always comes back. You got to do the work on yourself. Like you constantly have got to be working on yourself all the time, forever. It never stops. I mean, it's so interesting. And also the ghosting is so wild to me because like it takes a lot of effort to get close to me because I have a very hard time letting go of people. And so my hetero life mate Sarah pointed that out. She was like, you do not let people go. I'll cast you off into an outer web, the outer of my spider web. But like if you need me or something, I'm like, oh, trouble. Yeah, but like to get close to me, like this so our friend Maria, who I love, Maria Jenkins, I was like, okay, we're about like I made a joke. I was like, you're about like 3 months, like we can start regularly hanging out. And I was like, why am I like this? Like, why? But it's because I have a hard time letting people go.
Yeah, it's so difficult. It sucks. Terrible, 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 terrible. But I don't know, then you make space, right, for better people or to recalibrate yourself. I think one of the breakdowns I saw too, or like energy time breakdowns I saw was we spend 40% of our relational time on those the 5 best friends. 60% go to like the 15 good friends. So it's sort of like we're not spending which means like it's sort of that you need less from a best friend sort of element
That's
where
so
it's
true.
yeah, but the connection's stronger, but that also is why those relationships actually are more important to nurture. Like, and we don't have those
Yes.
means to do it. So trying to stay in touch, trying to develop those rituals or ceremonies or whatever with friends, so fucking important.
What a
Because
man.
otherwise you're giving most of your time to these other people who
The people who
aren't
don't deserve it.
the ride or dies. Yes, it's very, very big. Yeah.
It's so what these I mean, and you start when you hear the statistics and then you start to examine your life, you're like, oh
I
shit.
know. Because I think it's natural too. We're trying to put in some effort into the relationships that maybe aren't those ride or dies because we're wanting them to be better or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we can't handle more than 5. So stop trying to force that shit. You know?
We gotta let one go. Ah, well, there we go. I think this is another. What topic don't we talk about that's like, you know what? We need a phase 2. We need
No, I know. Well, I know. I actually
Yeah.
really would love to get one of these like researchers on about this because there's so much to it. And even like one thing that I've not explored is actual like, is there such a thing as a lifelong friend? Like, does that exist?
Yes.
Like a life, and what is that? What are those? What has made successful lifelong friendships? You know, like what are those things that they deem like this is what made it happen? I want to look that stuff up.
Yeah, there's no way that I'm not going to have certain people in my life at my 100th birthday party.
Yeah, you know, for sure.
It will be Thursday, March 1st, 2085. You're invited.
Okay, well, I'm feeling solid about this episode. I appreciate you as a friend, and to all of you listening, you're in our 1500 circle. I'm joking. You want to move up? You want to move up in the web here? Book us.
Well,
I'm kidding.
I was gonna say I'm giving out my, like I'm giving out the keys to being my friend. It's difficult, so good luck and Godspeed, everybody. But I love you and I appreciate you.
Hell yeah, love you and appreciate you. And don't forget, we're doing the Silly September code all month long. So, write us Silly September, rate us 5 stars, send us
Everyone needs a natal chart. Everybody needs it. Book Ryan. And then, then in October you can book me.
Well, yeah. And we need to put that abundance thing together too, that little package.
Yeah. Well, why don't we do that first? Why don't I like that idea? They'll book you first and then they'll book me. So September, book Ryan.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day or whatever, or in the week, or whatever, whenever you're listening.
And anyway, and be a good friend. If you took anything from this episode, be a good friend. Don't be a dick.
Hit up a fucking friend right now.
Yeah, shoot a text. Smoke
right now. What the fuck's stopping you?
I love you.
All right.
Say it. I mean, I was talking to them, not you.
I know. Say it. Say you love me. Tell me you love me. Okay. Love you. Bye.
Bye.